Welcome back here on Live Impact News on the WCNC Charlotte app. It is another hot one outside. And look, potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just want to throw that out there. It's hot, but we want you to be safe out there in this heat. It can be dangerous. Heat index. What is the heat index right now? I was going to guess. Can I guess, Brittany?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, last time it was 104, right?
That was the forecast.
That was the
not
forecast.
The current.
What was the current one? What was the current one last time?
It was 97,
97.
maybe.
I'm gonna say 99.
I'll say 99. 99.
Okay, it's 94 right now.
Okay, all right. I was off. By
That's the height. That's the temperature.
Okay.
It is 99.
Whee!
Okay, it's 99. Okay, I got it right.
Oh my gosh, literally. How many times
We're
do we have to
coming
go
for
over
your
the
job.
difference between temperature and heat index?
No, but
Nick?
okay. No. To be fair, I guessed the heat index, and she said 94 first.
I said
Carlene.
the current temperature is 94. And
I
she
can
said, "Oh
understand
man,
how it's confusing. I can understand.
Okay.
I understand. Yep.
I just just wanted to give a good guess.
Come over there."
Anyway, Brittany,
Anyway,
back to your forecast.
do you remember now what you learned yesterday? Remember I called you out at 4 o'clock.
That
and you
our
couldn't remember.
reading was in the shade.
So what does that mean?
That means it's actually
it's
warmer
hot.
than it is.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Do you remember how much warmer it could be?
Like 5 to 10 degrees?
15.
10 to 15.
10 to 15?
I was paying attention.
I know, 5 to 10 is like in the winter, so I call.
I was paying attention, Carlene.
It's based on how high the sun angle is.
Apparently.
It's
I pay
based,
attention.
it's based on the sun angle.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's get right to it. 99 is the current heat index right now. Again, the temperature and the heat index are different because the temperature is just the air temp and the heat index is the combination of heat and humidity. We have 101 right now for Rock Hill, Monroe, 100 there for Albemarle. Lancaster holds strong at 99 right now, similar to us in Charlotte. We got 103 there in Rockingham and 105 in Cheraw. Now, when you have the heat advisory situation today, just remember that weather does not understand county lines, state lines. And so just because there's one for Mecklenburg County, but let's say not for Lincoln County, does not mean that you're also not going to be very hot and humid. And even without the humidity, today would still be a big day because we actually have the potential to match a record high. The record is 98, set back in 1956. And I know this seems really aggressively hot, which it is because it's 12 degrees above average, but the month of June, a lot of our records are actually triple digits, like for the air temperature. Now, this is going to be a little mini, side note, but we actually see less triple digit highs now, and it's actually because the humidity is higher. So, back when we were a little bit drier, we had a better chance of getting to 100 for an air temperature. But the humidity is higher now. It takes more energy to warm muggy air than it does dry air. And so you actually have a better chance to see a higher feels like temperature here in 2026. But maybe like 40 years ago, it would have been harder to get to 104. But the air temp was hotter.
Okay.
I feel like we should have made a visual for that before saying it. But here we are. If you have questions, comments, concerns, you can email me. My email is very simple. It's Brittany@WCNC.com. Okay. I still don't know what's going on with this model data for the future cast, but essentially think triple digits across the board as we hit our peak today. Yesterday, our peak was 101 in Charlotte for a heat index and also for an air temperature of 93. Today, we're expecting about 3, maybe even 4 degrees hotter. Today is going to be the peak. So 104 is the current forecast. That puts us at 103 or higher, which is the threshold for a higher risk for heat-related illnesses. But I don't want to pretend like tomorrow or Sunday are going to be nice days to get outside because that is not the case. It is still going to be feeling like the triple digits. If you're Carlene Bragg, it might be a weekend of splish splash because you got to stay cool. Today, again, worse for the Charlotte metro area, but actually for Saturday and Sunday, we'll get a little bit better, especially on the northwestern side of Charlotte, but we'll actually get worse on the southeastern side of our viewing area and toward the East Coast. I mentioned this a few times yesterday, but it's essentially because of the positioning of a high moving out of the way with an approaching storm system. So instead of right now, where we're getting more of an impact in Charlotte, that shift is going to push more out of the south and west, really pumping up the heat to more extreme levels. So places like Lancaster County, Chesterfield, over towards Southern Pines, Darlington, Hartsville, South Carolina, Florence, and up toward Raleigh-Durham. So let's talk about the secondary headline for today, which is thunderstorms. We're actually going to be at a risk for strong storms later on today. Not going to see a lot of action, but we will see a few areas with damaging gusty winds near 60 miles an hour. Yesterday, we had just one rogue severe thunderstorm warning right over parts there of Cabarrus County. Really, really slow moving. So we know it can happen. We know it can be isolated. In this case, the higher heat and humidity does have a higher risk of influencing that because it's toasty and humid. Now, Sunday is probably going to be a bigger risk day, not because of the heat, but because of the storms. We have that approaching storm system, and that lift, that frontal boundary, could actually prompt a better chance for storms. So if I had to put a number on it, which I did because I did a weather forecast, I put 30% today, 20 tomorrow, but bumped it up to 50 for Sunday afternoon. Now, again, a lot of this will have to do on the exact timing, but we need some good rain. We saw a increase in our drought monitor this week, so essentially we went backwards, so we need some of those good rain days. Biggest risk, as I mentioned a second ago, damaging winds 60 plus miles an hour. That's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. From the mountains to the foothills in the northern Piedmont, sometimes we do have a higher risk for damaging downburst winds, essentially once the storm goes over the mountains, because of that rushing air down. So just be mindful of that. I think sometimes when we're under a medium risk, let's say from the mountains to Charlotte, the biggest impact could be in that center area, right? Foothills to the northern part of Mecklenburg County. Small chance for some small hail, which is about pea to penny sized. I did update this for today, 94, officially the hottest day of 2026, but I won't have to update the day, but I will have to update that number pretty consistently for the rest of this afternoon. There you go. There's your 3-day forecast. Hot, humid, chance of rain. Biggest heat day is today. Biggest storm potential is on Sunday. Then we transition to a more cloudy and hopefully wetter pattern for Monday and Tuesday. That same storm system does seem to linger nearby, meaning more clouds that'll limit afternoon warming, but also limit on Tuesday, especially us from really getting out of the upper 70s to lower 80s. So nice little change. Hopefully we'll get some good soakers. Right now it does look like maybe if we're lucky about an inch, maybe an inch and change, but I definitely don't think it's enough to get rid of the drought. But I know Brad and I have said this so many times that you might be sick of hearing it, but we need some of those good rain days, consistently over a long period of time. We don't want 12 inches of rain in one day. That would be horrific. But we do need these kind of spotty days where we get nice measurable rain so we can slowly chip away at the drought monitor. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right, Nick Sturdivant?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I see what you did there.
I know.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I'm not sprinting outside right now.
I hope not.
I saw some people out there sprinting.
I did see a lot of people walking around when I went and grabbed
saw
lunch.
some runners.
I'm like,
saw some runners.
people not running, wearing sunglasses or hats.
I saw some runners.
I'm
Brittany
like-
would be disappointed.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like not staying safe or disappointed with their running form.
Both. No. But it's so hot outside. I just want to make sure people are
People
safe.
wear a hat. Just wear a hat.
Yeah,
and
wear a hat.
glasses,
True.
guys. And some sunscreen. It really ain't that hard.
There's some guys out there shirtless, but I don't know if that's the best move in this heat. But
They better have sunscreen.
On the one hand, like you're not as hot, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes the fabric, depending on what it is, like makes you feel hotter. But on the other hand, it's the sun.
It's exposure to
Yeah.
sun.
So I guess you're at risk either way. But I think if
Yeah.
it was me, I would be wearing sunscreen and a shirt.
yeah.
yeah. As always,
Yeah.
Brittany Van Voorhees, thank you for stopping in for a check of our
Thanks for
forecast.
having me. Always great hanging out.
See you at 4 o'clock. Not doing weather. but
Oh, yeah.
See you at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.